friends, I'm Laura, and welcome to my podcast, Her Journey Towards Change. This is a faith-based life coaching podcast for women who, like me, are on a journey to live the best life possible. And then something happens, something unforeseen, and everything changes. Life feels foreign and you feel stuck. And it's difficult to move forward, and reaching out can be hard, right? Believe me, I know. If this is you, this podcast is for you. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I know who does. God wants more for us, for you and for me. You were created to live your best life. So I hope you will go on this journey with me to a more positive perspective and take those hard steps together through her journey towards change. Together, let's break through the barriers which are holding us back from achieving what God has called us to be. So let's go, and I hope you will go on this journey with me. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I am Laura, your host, and you are listening to today's episode, Tuesday's Talk, episode number 70. I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. You are listening to Her Journey Towards Change, and today is Tuesday. In today's Tuesday's Talk, I have a new guest with me. Her name is Kate Hurley, and Kate is a singer-songwriter, writer, life coach, and teacher based out of Asheville, North Carolina. She traveled the world for 14 years sharing her music and stories. She has played and taught everywhere from castles in Germany to slums in India to 30,000 people, hippie gatherings, and has created 6 solo albums. She was a writer and a performer with Enter the Worship Circle for several years. She has written 2 books, Getting Naked Later, Making Sense of the Unexpected Single Life, about prolonged singleness, and the upcoming Prodigal Mind, Change Your Story, One Thought at a Time, on the topic of becoming compassionate observers of her thoughts. Kate became extremely interested in overcoming negative self-talk while writing her book. She has created a personality test and a course on the topic, and also developing a life coaching model based on these concepts called mindset coaching. You can find out more at prodigalmind.org. She also is starting a sponsorship program to teach minority low-income youth for free music lessons, whether it be writing, creating songs, teaching, or life coaching. The most important thing to Kate is that every person that is listening to her or standing in front of her feels deeply loved and seen. That is her motivation behind Prodigal Mind and all the other creative endeavors of her life. She is also soon embarking on the new adventure of being a first-time wife and stepmother of 4 at the age of 45. So welcome, Kate. That
Thank
is
you.
a very, very creative bio.
Oh, thanks.
I loved reading that. There's
Oh,
so much there to be proud of.
oh, well, thanks. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself that's not in the bio, just something personal that we might not know.
Well, I guess I mentioned it at the end, but I'm getting married in May, which after many, many years of blogging about singleness and writing a book about singleness, it's like, yay! My first book was about prolonged singleness, and yeah, I was single all the way into my 40s, and it was a very tough thing for me. So it's kind of miraculous that I'm finally getting married, and 4 stepkids. I'm going to be an instant mom, and yeah, so I'm excited though. It's going to be a fun journey.
It's going to be very fun, but it's going to be new too. It will be an adventure.
Oh yeah, definitely an adventure. Yeah, and luckily I get along with the kids really well so far. So, and we've been together 2.5 years. So,
Well, that's good. So
the kids know me pretty well, and Yeah, it's a little scary, but for the most part, I'm like, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, well, something tells me that it's going to be a smooth transition for you. I just
Oh, thanks.
think that. So
Yeah.
you were in the process of writing a book. It's not published yet, right?
That's right. I've actually been working on it for probably about 4 years, and I do have a book agent, but we're looking for a publisher. So it needs some editing, but it's a pretty long book. I mean, so it's pretty much done. It just needs to be edited. But
So the title of it is,
it's called Prodigal Mind: Change Your Story One Thought at a Time. Although we might change it to healing the prodigal mind. It's that's a little bit up in the air, but
okay. So where did you get your inspiration from for the title?
Well, I started the book because I was on a retreat, and I just kind of had this revelation from God that I was so kind to other people in my life, and gave the message so many times that people are beautiful and worthy of belonging and love, but I wasn't always turning all of that on myself, and that seems like the human condition a little bit, you know. And so I started the book and was really trying to think of a title, and one day that came to me, and I thought that's really perfect because, you know, our thoughts wander, our heart has kind of wandered away from home, our thoughts have wandered away from home, and so my hope with the book is that people will come home again, and that their minds will be a safer place, and that they'll feel more at home in their own skin almost. So I just liked the idea of something that had wandered and they have a revelation and come home like the prodigal son. So yeah, that's where I came up with the title.
Well, once it's published, it can't be any more better time for it to be coming out. I mean, 2020 was rough, and coming into 2021, it's not been any better yet. So once that's published, I'm sure that it can do a world of good for many people. So the information that I have on it, um, you have it's based on 8 characters. Is that
Yeah.
okay? In the 8 characters, I'll just name them off real quick, and then maybe we can go over quickly each character, just describe what each character would be. The characters are the orphan, the inner critic, the should monster, which I like that, the performer, the hider, the comparison queen, and then you also have king for that, right?
Right. Yes.
Based on male and female.
Right.
The hijackers and the compassionate friend. So I do want to say that you offered a test or a quiz, and I took that, and
Oh, you,
I fit into one of these, but we'll talk about it later. So you can,
okay.
once we get to it, I'll let you
Okay.
know which one I am.
Okay.
So the orphan. Tell me a little bit describe the orphan.
Yes, and but before I do that, let me just explain a little bit. So if you think of your mind like an inner theater, these are just the different characters that have kind of different forms of self-talk. Yes.
Yes.
So that's just if the listener didn't quite understand that. Yeah, so it's like each character has different forms of self-talk that are going on inside of you. So yeah, the orphan is the first one, and she is the longest amount of chapters in the book because she's the one I relate to the most. So I really am acquainted with this one, and
Okay.
that voice struggles the most with rejection and feeling like somebody might leave, and abandonment, and also just feeling like if people see me, they won't love me anymore. So kind of like the orphan spirit, somebody who has been abandoned.
Well, there's a lot of people out there like that right now. But that's a very important one to try to reach out to
Yeah.
someone.
Right.
So that one is very personal to you.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I definitely have struggled with that self talk for a long time, especially because of my singleness, feeling just rejection and, none of my romantic relationships ending up working, and then also some spiritual leadership that didn't work out. my parents were, had a really ugly divorce too. So just so many rejections in my life gave me the false story that I wasn't worthy of love. But that was not the true story, right? So,
Right.
um, and that's something I've learned that that's not the true story, but that's the story I believed for a long time. And so that orphan was definitely a strong self-taught character that I had.
Okay. So the next one is the inner critic.
Yes. And this one in the book I focus a lot on um our struggle with, I mean, not everybody struggles with this, but like our outward appearance, like if we've gained weight or if we get older. But there's other parts of the inner critic too. But that inner critic just basically it is a very harsh voice. It's like it could even be considered like a bully, and it's thoughts like you're getting so fat or like why are you so stupid, like just really mean, harsh things that you would never say to a friend, but your thoughts say those things to you sometimes, so that is very it can be destructive to hear those harsh words on a regular basis coming from your own mind.
You know, I've I've done that before. Still do. I think, do you think that it's almost normal to some extent for somebody to do this? I know on a regular basis it's not good, but do you think that it's a normal part of life to do this?
Yeah. I think it's human nature. Something I talk about in the book as well is this term called itis, which is it sounds weird, but it's like laryngitis. But the thought is that when you're inside of yourself, you kind of you don't turn the same compassion on yourself that you do to other people for some odd reason. But you're right, it's kind of a part of human nature. It's this mysterious thing that happens when you're inside of yourself. You're just not as kind to yourself. You don't give the same grace to yourself you give to other people. So yeah, I definitely think it's human nature, and it's something you almost have to go against the flow of in order for it
True.
not to take over.
Yes,
Yeah,
because this is not what God wants for us. This is not the kind
exactly.
of self-talk, not at all. So
Right,
the
exactly.
next one is the should monster.
Yeah, I called it that because the word should, even the word comes across with this meaning of like it's not even necessarily telling you that you should be doing that. It's almost like this societal norm. So that's why it's a monster, just because it's like this
The
nebulous
big,
creature that's like,
yes.
you must do more, you're not doing enough.
No way.
Yeah, so that one is if you catch yourself thinking I should be doing this or I shouldn't do this, that's usually a sign that this should monster, and that's the one that's struggles the most with like feeling like there's not enough time in the day and just having to get all these tasks done and feeling like almost like a slave to all the things that you have to do.
And that could go from a mother staying at home taking care of her children, clear up to somebody working in the corporate world, being so busy. I mean, it can go anywhere from one extreme to the other and in between.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also a pretty natural thing that happens when you're human and you get busy. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that one. Like, there's so many in here that I'm guilty of. It's hard to realize this. So this has been good for me so far. We'll see
Yeah.
how far we can go with this. The next one is the performer, and when I took the test, this is the one that says I am.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
so can you hit on that one a little bit and tell us what that is?
Yeah, so this is one that's maybe not everybody has, but it's basically um somebody who's usually very leadership oriented and charming and sometimes like make a lot of money and things like that. But they usually really feel like they get their worth from being smart or talented or rich or all these outward things. So they usually, the self-talk they have usually has to do with if I wasn't this way, then nobody would love me. Like if I wasn't talented or rich or yeah. So it's just a lot of they're the most concerned with image, I think. So there's a lot of kind of what do I look like on the outside to other people. So that's the main gist of it.
So on an Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 9,
Oh,
um, which is a people pleaser. So
mm,
I don't know if these mix or not, but
yeah.
I was kind of surprised when I took the test that I came up with this one, and I did it twice, and both
Oh,
times it came up the same thing. So
oh, really
it must
interesting.
be the
Yeah.
same way that I'm answering the
Yes. Well, the test is still in beta form a little bit. I'm trying to see if people can skip answers. So I do send a PDF of all the self-talk characters at the end. So if the test doesn't feel completely accurate, you can read through them all and see if there's one that resonates with you more. But
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
sounds good. The next one is the hider.
Oh yeah, so this again is probably not everybody struggles with this one, but this is somebody who maybe their whole life hasn't felt like they're quite enough. Like maybe they don't have some shining talent, or they don't feel like they are um, like they're pretty, or just all these things. And when people say, "Oh, you should have a passion," or you're just like, I don't really have that. You know, they feel average or below average, and so they often like have that feeling of like I need to hide myself because I'm not really worthy of love. And yes, and they're the most like they sometimes think that humility is about being very like just hidden, which isn't always the definition of humility. You know, sometimes you need to step out and shine and be beautiful even if
Right.
you don't feel you feel average on the inside or something. But that doesn't mean you have to go out there and get talented or get
Right.
like be this very striking person. It means that you just want to still believe in yourself even if you don't have some shining thing that people notice about you.
Okay. That's the next one is the comparison queen.
Oh yes. So the comparison queen, yeah, is just
Usually a popular one, maybe.
yeah, yeah. So the comparison queen is very hierarchical. So she lives on ladders, which can be very lonely on a ladder because there's you either dehumanize people who are under you, or you superhumanize people who are over you, and so nobody's quite on the same level as you. So this can happen in churches a lot, where like a pastor gets superhumanized, and then he feels very alone because nobody really sees him as just human,
Yes.
and then people don't get close to them, but then we can dehumanize other people. So I talk about trying to be on the same playing field, and that Jesus's message was that all people are beautiful and equal. That doesn't mean we don't want leaders necessarily. It's just that we don't want to be so hierarchical that we aren't like participating in all of human nature and seeing that everybody struggles like we do and has joys like we do. So yeah, getting out of that comparison queen voice really helps you to become more able to just embrace all of humanity.
Okay. So the next one is the hijackers.
Yes. So the hijackers are a little bit different because they're not exactly the voices or the different characters. They're almost like outside forces, and so hijackers would be something like an addiction to porn or smoking, or I mean not necessarily smoking, but like drugs and things that are really, or like an addiction to food, things that are really hijacking your mind. That and so the
Well,
idea behind the
smoking can be an addiction.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be.
I mean, you
Yeah,
can add that in there, anything.
right. Yes, exactly. I just didn't want to shame anybody if they do smoke,
Right.
but what it really means is like you have a thought that comes in, and the hijacking addictions like stop you from having any healing because they're like taking over any healing you might have. So yeah, so that's basically what happens with a hijacker. The reason it's called a hijacker is because they're like taking over your thoughts and not allowing the rest of the characters to get the healing that they need.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the compassionate friend.
Yeah, so this is the most important one. So, I mean, it might sound a little overwhelming that there's so many kind of negative characters, but the whole idea is that there's this deepest part of you. It's like the you that is you that is you. It's kind of like your spirit, and she dwells closest to the heart of God. You know, she is the most in tune with God's love, and she knows she is loved. She knows she's beautiful. And so that part of you is the one that you want to access the most, and the one that you want to be kind of the mother to all the other self-taught characters. And you don't ever want to hate the other characters because they're a part of you that need healing. But the idea is to access that deepest part of the compassionate friend and allow her to be the most important character so that she can bring healing to all the other characters that might be giving you this negative self-talk.
It all sounds like it's all wrapped up so well and put together so well. It sounds like I can't wait for the book to come out. You also have, and I don't want to give everything in the book away, but I do want the listeners to be able to understand, if they get this book, what it's about, so that, you know, if it resonates with them, that, you know, they can go ahead and get it. You also have, it's like a 3 steps to improve your thought life. And one of the steps go through, but I know well, let me just read. Step 1, make you thought new. Notice and name, then envision, and then whirl around 180 degrees.
Yes.
So can you explain just quickly step 1, 2, and 3?
Sure. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not like a huge acronym person, like when it's like 7 steps to everything will be perfect in your life. But I created this acronym, and it has really honestly helped me because it's so simple. And when I start spinning out, I'll actually think I need to use that new acronym, and sometimes I even write it out or I think about it. So NEW, the N is notice and name. So when you have a limiting thought, when one of those characters comes up, you notice and name that that's what's happening. And it helps actually to kind of have these characters, because then it's easier to notice them, right? You're like, oh, the orphan's talking right now. So you notice them, you name them. Instead of just going through your day having all these sometimes negative thoughts going through and not even noticing them, you actually want to be aware that they're happening, almost like an observer watching a play or something. So you notice and name, and then envision is the E. And envision, oh, it's so powerful. Actually, it's really helped me a few times. But envision means you stop and you think about, what would my life look like, or what would happen in my life if I let go of this limiting thought? And then also, what would I feel like if I let go of this limiting thought? And I just recently had this happen where my orphan rejection glasses were on with my boyfriend, and he didn't answer a text for like 6 hours or something. And I mean, I don't usually do this, but that day, for some reason, I started getting really sad about that, and like, does he love me? I mean, all these the orphan was raging. And so I stopped and thought about this E, the envision, and I thought, what would it feel like to stop putting these rejection glasses on so much, and just think about, like, I deserve love. It's okay to be loved. Like I
Yes.
and also people do love me. It's not like they have to prove to me all the time that they love me. Like, I need to just accept they do, and not always be weighing it out and saying, oh, he must not love me if he doesn't answer my text for 6 hours, you know? And I also thought, I envisioned, what would he feel like if I stopped doing that? And I thought he would feel so much more free, and like he would feel so much less pressure to, you know, to please me all the time, or to feel like, oh, she never receives my love, even though I try to love her every way I can. She's not receiving my love. So that really helped me go, oh, I'm sick of these rejection glasses. I need to take them off. Like,
Right.
so yeah. So that's envision. And then W is whirl it around 180 degrees. Or I had it as wind, but people were reading it as wind. And they were like,
Yeah.
what? I don't get it.
I like whirl. Whirl
Yeah.
definitely has a different picture.
Yeah, whirl. So you whirl it around 180 degrees. So you take that same thought. So my thought around my boyfriend might have been something like, no, you love everyone more than they love you. That might have been what it was. And you could whirl it around even just personally with me and I keep saying boyfriend, but my fiance. Like, we both love each other deeply. Like, one doesn't love the other more. Like, we have different ways of expressing our love, but that doesn't mean one of us loves the other more. So that would be a good example of a W whirl it around 180 degrees.
Those are three great steps, you know, for somebody to actually take a moment and apply these when they, you know, feel like they're in that moment of one of these characters. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed by this book, and I haven't even read it yet. So I'm looking forward to it coming out. And also, you are a singer.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to some of your music, and it's very inspiring. You have a beautiful voice. So
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I will definitely share some of that on the show notes so that everybody can pull that up.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing your book and everything that goes into it. And you're just a blessing to have on the show. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
With every guest that I've been bringing on, I'm asking if there is something that they have that they could give to a listener for free in a giveaway. And you had suggested that maybe you have a song to download or a CD.
I was thinking if the person in the drawing either wants a CD, a physical CD, because not everybody has CD players now. They could either have a physical CD, or they could I can send them zip files of my 3 favorite albums. So then they can have all my 3 favorite albums.
That's a great gift.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put myself in that drawing. Again,
I can send them to you too. I'll send them to you.
Thank you for coming on. I know I'll have all of your links in the show notes, but
yes,
where is that one particular place that you want everybody to definitely go to find you?
Yes, well, yeah, if you're interested in what I'm talking about right now, I just launched my new website, which is prodigalmind.org. And that's a really good place to go because it has lots of great resources, and it has a link to the test. And I also created a course about overcoming negative self-talk. So there's a link on there as well. So there's just a lot of really great resources on that prodigalmind.org website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody heard that. So we will go to that definitely. So when again did you say that this book might be coming out?
Well, I'm just praying for a publisher.
Okay.
So we don't have a publisher yet. Yeah, so my book agent loved the book and was so excited about it, but then a lot of writers go through, they said I didn't have a large enough audience, which is one of the reasons I thought, you know what, like, I think I used to, it was interesting because I was using my own concepts because I was thinking, oh, I hate that the publishers are so set on having, a platform. And then one day I was like, this is the story I keep telling myself and I'm not doing anything about it. And maybe I really actually need to build this. I mean, it's intimidating. I don't love marketing like most people, but at the same time, I started thinking so many people could benefit from this. I really need to just buckle down and work hard and let more people know this exists, because it's a powerful book and I want people to read it. So, yeah, so we're still looking for a publisher, and yeah, so hopefully, and if in the next year or so we don't get a publisher, I'm just going to self-publish it. And my book agent from my last book, I think my book editor from my last book, I think will do an amazing job editing it. So that is the plan.
Sounds good. Do you got anything going on right now coming up in the near future with your music? I know with COVID, there's not a whole lot.
Right. It's not. I did quite a few things at Christmas time with music, but I don't have a lot planned. I'm trying to think if I have anything planned. I have a big writing retreat in April, which is really close to my wedding, but no, I'm pretty much just right now looking for a house and planning my wedding.
That's enough to keep you busy right there.
Oh, yes.
What is the name of your band?
It's just Kate Hurley. Yeah, it's just my name. I used to tour with a friend of mine, but for the most part, I've just been a solo artist. Oh, but my last album is called Kate Hurley and Eden Heart Collective. Live from the Julian Project. So there were a group of musicians that got together just for that project. And it was a live album, and that was so fun. And we had a wonderful documentarian who did all the videos for free for us, which was just a wild blessing, so but the Eden Heart Collective was our, and there's still a semblance of that Eden Heart Collective, but since we were from all over the country, we don't really get together a lot, but yeah, but they were amazing group of musicians, and we had such a blast making that.
Well, I pulled up some of the videos from that, and it's beautiful. I mean, the videos are there's shots in there that are just, very creative, and the harmony and the music, it all just blended in so well. And the music is so inspiring. It is.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that was such a fun project. I loved it so much. Yeah, and I also have an album that has been really, a lot of people have told me it's really been ministered to them in really hard times, but it's called Sing Over Me, and it's a concept album, and I based all the writing of the songs on scriptures where God is talking. So it's as if he's singing the songs to you. So it's almost like God's singing the songs. That's why it's called Sing Over Me. So that was also a really fun, wonderful project to work on, because I was just immersed in these beautiful verses where God is making promises that are so empowering and so just full of love. And so that's another project I had, and that's called Sing Over Me.
Well, I truly appreciate you coming on, and you're so blessed with so many gifts and talents, God-given gifts, and I thank you for sharing it with the world the way that you do, to inspire and help others through hard times.
Aw, thank you so much.
Congratulations coming up on your new adventure and your wedding coming up, and I hope that I can have you back on sometime.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Maybe the next time you come on, you can actually sing.
Oh, yeah, I would love to sing.
That would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye.